Hey everybody, welcome back to Conscientious Omnivore. My name is Pal. Today I'm going to be talking about a very serious issue. I'm going to be talking about waste management, specifically poop and what we do with it, and also kind of bring into the topic here something that has happened in the past 1 or 2 days here near Budapest. So the past couple days, it has been incredibly stinky all over Budapest and the surrounding areas. Including where we live, even though we're a little bit away from the city. And it's been incredibly potent and really stinky. It just smells like an insanely concentrated manure. I can't tell if it's like really like a pig manure or like a cow manure, but it's definitely stronger than that. So it kind of reminds me of the Hungarian, there's like a gray steer that we have here, the szürke, and that has incredibly stinky poop as far as I've experienced going around farms and stuff. And yeah, it's just really strong. There's all sorts of articles about it that people have been kind of complaining. It's even in the center of like Budapest, so people like in the city are smelling it. And there's been all sorts of speculation. There's articles, I'm going to just show you guys one here, about where the source of the smell might be coming from. And yeah, I guess like even like the meteorologists have been trying to figure it out, and they're trying to figure out like based on the wind direction where it could be coming from. So people have been kind of thinking that it might be coming from this village called Zsámbék, which is like west of Budapest. And yeah, a lot of, I guess the people there said no, it's not coming from there. It's probably coming from Gyermely, which is even farther out, and there's a big chicken farm there, and they do indeed actually put out their manure in August and September. Think about that also, because that is insane. They take out their manure from their chicken enclosures like during those 2 months of the year. So the rest of the time, those poor animals are stuck in those horrific conditions, probably suffering from the ill effects of that much manure in the building they're in. So anyway, maybe they do another one in the spring, but right now in the summer and the fall, that's when they do it. So the thing that I want to talk about here is really just, yeah, it's like incredibly stinky. I mean, it's so bad. Like we had to sleep with the windows closed last night because it just stank so bad. And of course, people are worried, rightfully so, about health consequences and all sorts of other problems. So yeah, this is what I want to talk about today. And I'll show you guys a couple of things on the screen here. Let's start here. This is just one of the articles trying to figure out, what the cause of the smell is. And they're, thinking that it's these different places. There are these chicken farms. There's a mushroom farm that people were suspecting, but I can tell you right now, this is not mushroom smell. So here's a map. You can see Budapest here, and this is Zsámbék, where people thought at first the chicken farm might be responsible is. And then here Gyermely, or sorry, that's where the chicken farm is, in Gyermely. Sorry, in Zsámbék there's something else, but they're saying it's not from there. But what I want to actually tell you guys is one of the places that my wife and I were actually looking at possibly moving to when we were looking to buy a property is this place called Etek right here. And when we checked out properties there, one of the big reasons why we actually decided to not purchase any land there was because it was incredibly stinky in like one specific part of town. And as it turned out, there is a szürke, which is this like gray Hungarian cattle farm there, and it's incredibly stinky. So if you zoom in here, this is just this tiny little village, and they're kind of famous for their wine festival every year and all this kind of stuff. If you zoom in farther, you will see just outside of town here, there's this place called Omnivore, Bicskei állattenyésztő. It's a szürke, so it's like this gray cattle, and they have milk production there as well. And you can see that it's just outside of the town, and some of the places we were looking at, I think were on this side, but I don't even remember where it was. But basically there's like a valley here, and the wind was just carrying it, into the village, and it was like, wow, I can't believe anybody lives here. I mean, it was so bad. Like we just immediately discounted like purchasing any land there. And if you go in here to the satellite view, you can actually see the farm, and you can see the kind of like the holding pens for the animals. You can see them here and here. And I believe, and I don't know this because we didn't go out to investigate it, I think these might be the poop lagoons, or some kind of manure storage or something. But anyway, it's incredibly stinky. So it was just something that immediately came to my mind. Like, I don't know how they didn't suspect this place if they were thinking that somewhere as far out as Diademe or Jambek had anything to do with it. Oh, sorry, I'm like switching back and forth here. So, I mean, this is actually quite close to Budapest and the other areas that are reporting the smell issues, and much closer than Diademe or Jambek. So it's like, I don't know how they didn't look at this place. I wonder if maybe people don't know about it, but I would think like journalists should be able to figure that out. And it's a little bit frustrating. But anyway, the last thing I want to show you guys here on the screen is this article. This was from a couple of years ago, so I'm sure the numbers may have changed slightly, but in general, this is kind of what we're dealing with here. This article talks about the issue and the problem of dealing with all the manure produced by food animals in the U.S. So these are U.S. figures, but rest assured that any place that's eating a similar Western-style diet with heavy, animal products like meat and dairy, you're running into the same issues. I've done videos about this before, like my dairy video where I talked about how much water pollution is caused by dairy farming. It's worse than fracking, all this kind of stuff like that people are against. They don't realize that dairy is even worse than that. So here you can actually see that according to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, sorry about that, animals at feeding operations, including CAFOs, houses, feedlots, and other confinement facilities, produce 335 million tons of manure in the U.S. annually, and that's in dry weight. If you include the liquid fraction and waste from smaller farms, food and animals produce 2 billion tons of manure per year. 2 billion, okay? If you look here, American humans, on the other hand, produce 7 million tons of fecal matter per year as measured in dry weight. Just so you know, when you do the math, 335 million versus 7 million, that's over 47 times the amount of manure produced by animals in dry weight than humans. If you include the, like it says, the liquid fraction and the waste from smaller farms, the food animals produce 2 billion tons. That is like another, 6 times as much, maybe more? Yeah, so that's like 250 times almost the amount that humans produce. It is a huge problem. I've talked about this before in live streams as well. I gave you guys examples on some of the news live streams I did where, I don't remember where, it was somewhere in the upper north, like middle of America. It may have been like Michigan, or I don't know, somewhere around that area where there was a huge problem with water pollution caused from farms and slaughterhouses and stuff. Let me just stop this here. And yeah, I mean, it's such a huge problem all over the U.S., but not just the U.S., it's all over the world. I mean, any place that you have animal products being produced, you're going to have the problem of the animals producing poop, and what do you do with it? Now, you can think all you want how you can use the manure for like fertilizers or other kinds of things, but the sad fact of the matter is that it is not it's not something we need, and the amount that is produced is way more than can actually be used. So it is a massive problem, and it is not something that should be used as a justification for trying to say, like, we need to keep the animals because how are we going to keep the fields fertile? The animals don't help keep the fields fertile. What they do is they cause huge environmental destruction and pollution. And I know some of the people watching, you'll probably be thinking, but it's because of the concentration and the massive feedlots and yes, that's true. That is the bulk of the problem. But the thing is, you have to acknowledge that like 90 whatever percent, I don't know the exact stats, look it up if you don't believe me, But like a huge majority of the animal products that are produced from farmed animals that are concentrated in those large feedlots and those large warehouses. Those are the bulk of what is out there. So the eggs that are produced, the pig meat, the cow meat, all of that stuff, that is produced in a huge part, like 90 whatever percent, on factory farms. So you can claim all you want that I only eat the small farm and the blah blah blah. That very well might be true for like 10% of the people, but no more than that. What is everyone else doing? They're buying the mass-produced factory farm stuff, and there is not enough land on Earth for everyone to eat the kind of diet that we are eating as a human race and in our society. If everyone were to eat those small farmed kind of things, there's too many people, there's not enough space, you cannot do that. It's not a sustainable option. And right now we're literally stuck, like with the windows closed. It is so stinky, you can't open the windows at times. You just get this like horrific smell. I can only imagine how bad it is for people who live around these large farms. The people in North Carolina that have brought lawsuits, I've talked about this before in live streams too, against these animal producers. They are being inundated and just swamped with this like wretched, horrible stink all of their life. They are suffering from increased rates of asthma, cancers, all sorts of illnesses. It's incredibly unhealthy. It destroys the water around it. There are regularly cases of like the manure lagoons breaking and going into local rivers or lakes, killing fish en masse, killing all sorts of animals and wildlife that needs the fish to survive, and of course the human detriment as well. A lot of this stuff runs off into other water sources, and even if it doesn't produce massive die-off like in one localized area, it also goes out into the ocean. It produces algae blooms. It kills off animals that way. It's a huge problem. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about this because it's very topical right now here in Budapest. I mean, it's a huge nuisance, obviously, for the people here. We've been assured that the concentration is low enough that it doesn't pose a health risk, and that it's just an inconvenient, stink. But I don't buy that for a second. I mean, I can only imagine the concentration, wherever this source is, like what those people around there, must be experiencing, and how that must impact their health. It's terrible. So yeah. I'm going to be doing a video very soon talking about poop again, but I'm going to talk about some other aspects of it. I'm going to be talking about humanure and show you guys the composting toilet that I made. It's super simple, and I've been using it for about a week now, and it's really awesome. I'm going to be showing you guys that in an upcoming video, so make sure to subscribe if you want to see that. And I'm going to talk about some of the benefits of doing that versus a conventional toilet. Now, long term, it's not going to be our permanent solution, but more than likely I'll keep using it like in the garden and stuff, because it's pretty convenient as well. If I have that kind of out in the garden, maybe I'll keep it in one of the sheds or something like that. But yeah, that'll be another video. Really just wanted to talk about poop because it's super important, and obviously you can see just from the numbers that I showed you for the US, like I say, it's probably on par with other countries as well. So if you're watching this from somewhere outside of the US, I'm sure if you look up your own stats, you'll probably see something similar. It's like, orders of magnitude, sometimes maybe higher, if you're looking at all the animals, and the manure they produce. It's just an absolute calamity. If you are a longtime vegan, you may remember the videos that Emily from Bite Size Vegan did about poop, and how in the US they've actually had contests created so that people can come up with good ideas of how to handle and deal with the poop produced from animal agriculture. I mean, it's a massive problem. Yeah, so I mean, that's it for today's video. Like I say, check out the video I'll be doing in the future about the composting toilet. And yeah, if you're new, remember to hit subscribe, and let me know in the comments if you guys have any experience dealing with something like this where you live. Do you suffer from the this horrible, wretched stench of like animal agriculture? I just find it incredibly upsetting and sad. And I really just, you know, I can't even imagine how bad it must be for somebody that actually lives near one of these places that produces this amount of, you know, manure. And yeah, it's just terrible. So yeah, that's it for today. I would say I hope you guys enjoyed it, but I don't think anybody enjoys talking about poop. But yeah, thanks. Talk to you guys in the next one. Bye.